on into the draft for game 1. GIANTX on the blue side will remove Talia. Varus taken away by KC. Important to remember, Yunara enabled, Mel disabled, as she has a bug that apparently gives her 100 times the amount of stats she should get from a dragon or something.
That seems fine.
Yeah, just let it in. We don't see enough Mel.
Yeah,
just put it in.
Yeah.
It'll be fine. Jason and Bess are the next two bands from GIANTX. KC going to remove the Azir. Gwen is the one that immediately jumps to mind when I look at top lane here. It is Vi banned away, and there's the Gwen insta-locked by GIANTX.
I mean, it was basically a case of, like, how do you prioritize the Wukong Pantheon and then the Gwen? And GIANTX saying, look, we're pretty happy to get either of those picks in the jungle. We're going to take the Gwen. I think she's incredibly strong on this patch. She has very few champions that can really go toe-to-toe with her. And we're going to have to see what Canna has in the back to bring it out. I imagine it'd be something like the Rumble, just to kind of go for the AP matchup up there, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, yesterday we saw him bring out 2 tanks. Sion and Cassante were his 2 picks. I did ask about how much damage he tanked in that series. Apparently the series was too short for him to really have to tank any damage. The average like 26k, and he only tanked about 24k for top laners in the LEC. Ryze locked in though for KC. Jack's another answer we often see into the Gwen. That will be selected for Canna.
Definitely a much more focus on side lanes already with both the Ryze and the Jax taking, because I was curious to see what the plan for KC was going to be. Over the course of spring, we saw them go for what was a bit of a, I'll say, meta-breaking style, especially in their mid-lane champion pool. They were kind of the ones that were bringing out things like the Sylas much more often, the Kali much more often than other teams were, but I was curious to see if they're going to go back towards this front-to-back style, or if they're going to go for something a bit different, but here already, mixing up the style once more.
Yeah, and we are seeing a lot of pressure put into those side lanes. You know, Talia, Ryze, still very important mid laners if you want to get out and around on the map. Trundle and Orianna, the next 2 picks for GIANTX. So they have, I mean, they've got some AoE area control in team fights. The Trundle obviously kind of makes it so KC don't want to pick a tanky support because of the Subjugate, which works so well into those larger tanks. But GIANTX's composition doesn't seem entirely cohesive to me as of yet. They've got a couple of good skirmishes in the Gwen and the Trundle, and then Orianna is very much more a team fighter who can get some lane pressure in the early game into something like a Ryze. Jarvan, the final pick for KC on this first phase as they round out their top side of the map, mirroring what GIANTX have decided to do.
Yeah, I'm waiting to see exactly how they want to try and round this out, because my point was going to be for AD carries, I think you do have to focus the more AD heavy ones, because you've already got Orianna and a Gwen.
Yeah.
You definitely want to be trying to avoid things like Ezreal and Kai'Sa and these things that have a bit more mixed damage. So I like the fact that they're trying to take away the Corki. Maybe even something like the Jhin wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, just to try and remove things that have this high AD burst damage.
I wonder if they'll look towards the Yunara. We've seen it a couple of times already here in the LEC. Jinx as well, Aphelios. Like if you want to go for a hyper carry,
I think the only thing I'd be worried about is just lack of real frontline right now for them. I traditionally prefer Jinx and those kind of, even Yunara, when you've got a frontline that can set
a
up
Sion or an Ornn or something that just stands in front of you.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. Yeah. Kai'Sa ban's still going to come through though, so kind of surprised that. Maybe a little bit worried about the Trundle pillar into Kai'Sa engage combo, but I still think you want something that's a bit more AD focused than that mixed damage in the AD carry role.
It's also getting rid of something Noah's very comfortable on. Very happy on that. Kai'Sa's played it a lot of times, so making sure that he has to go down a little bit further in his pool does make sense. Nautilus removed by GIANTX alongside the Braum. They're getting rid of some of these easier engage supports in the Nautilus, and then the Braum obviously great for that disengage. And I wonder if GIANTX will look towards a hooking support of their own, or someone that wants to be in the middle of the meat grinder. Braum is so good against that sort of support that with GIANTX not having true engage yet in their composition, I think they're really looking at something for Jhin.
Yeah, I wasn't sure. So my thought was either they go to Jhin and then they can take something like the Rel here and look for that big engage, or I wasn't actually too remiss in looking at, they hovered over several different ones and immediately thought of who they first went for was gone. But yeah, I think Alistar or Rel get your engage down. I still think Jhin is fine, and the Sivir, was the first one that they hovered. I still think can work here just for the speed up for the rest of the crew.
Actually, the most played AD carry in the LPL and the LCK so far. At least it was yesterday. I didn't watch I didn't see if it changed this morning. But I really like Sivir just generally. I think she scales really well. The Kraken changes help her out a bunch. Instead, they're going to go for the Lucian, who is a physical damage AD carry. It's not an Ezreal, it's not a Kai'Sa. Does have a little bit of magic damage in his kit, but it doesn't really have the same oomph that something like a Draven or a Jhin would have.
It also just doesn't really have the setup that I think Lucian needs. You want something that can enable that culling to hit onto multiple people, or sorry, to nail someone and just put them in their place, but unfortunately you just don't really have that here. The Alistar can kind of provide that. Sure, you've got a bit of a slow, but it feels like overall I would have preferred something that can kind of be that consistent DPS in these fights and able to hit from long range, because you've already got an Alistar Orianna combo and then trying to work through with the needlework. I think just having something that could have been that consistent DPS to close out a fight could have worked well.
I 100% agree with you. KC rounding out their composition with the Neeko gives them good disengage, but also more engage tools. They already have the Jarvan for it. Neeko realm warped onto a backline with a Pop Blossom can be absolutely devastating. Looking at the compositions, I think KC's is much easier to execute. Like GIANTX, you have one engage tool, you have a Shockwave on top of that, and then you kind of have skirmishes. Like Gwen wants to skirmish, Trundle wants to skirmish, Lucian wants to skirmish, whereas KC, Cataclysm, Pop Blossom all in, follow up with the damage from a Ryze and a Jax. Like there is a very easy to execute, I press R, let's go forward comp.
Yeah, and I think that's what you're going to struggle with a bit. That's probably why they end up going for the Lucian in the end, is have something that's a bit safer and can actually try and dash away from some of these fights. But I think when you look over at KC, the ease of access to these fights, they have great side lanes. I think this is going to be a tough uphill battle for GIANTX.
Let's go Na'Vi,
yeah.
I believe, are the chance. Well, I mean, they went yesterday for about 53 minutes and 51 seconds, and then they were rapidly stopped by KC. Let's get into the game. KC's second of the split. GIANTX is first. Both these teams not making any changes between summer and spring, something we have seen from other teams. And KC off to a storming start on day one, as we see Isma looking to see if he can get a little bit of a ward in towards those Razorbeaks. Still has time to do it. You really want to go in about 1 minute, 1 minute 10 to make sure that you have that spotted out.
Yeah, I think my focus is going to be on exactly how Isma is going to play the early game. I think there is a try and get in the face of Yike early and see if you can do some damage, but the biggest problem you're going to have is that you just don't really have control over the bottom side of the map. Same when you look towards Canna in that top lane, should have push level 1 to 3. So I think the moments for Isma to try and get in and look for invades is going to be relatively tough, because I think if you don't, Yike just kind of gets to control a huge amount of the map, and also can look for good dives with the Jarvan. A lot of these plays, which the Jarvan is famous for at this stage.
Yike's going to clear out the ward that was put down by Isma. KC got a ward of their own over at the Razorbeaks. We'll note LEC deciding to run the Ignite and the TP here on the Gwen. If Yike goes up there early, it could be a very difficult time for this Gwen.
Yeah, and I remember talking to Finn about this. It's something that Gwen kind of needs to do in the matchup, because when you get to the level 6, it can be very difficult to try and match the all-in potential of the Jax at that stage, especially when the Counter-Strike removes so much of your damage. So you kind of need the Ignite to help you in that regard, but hopefully won't need to use this and won't need a flash if Yike starts to move up there at any point in time.
It's just going to be really difficult for him to escape. He's got the skip and slash, obviously, but you can skip and slash away from either the Counter-Strike or the flag and trap.
Yeah,
you don't have a subsequent dash to get out of it, and Canna had a really fun time yesterday just playing tanks. He was still winning out in the 1v1 on the top lane in most of those matchups against Na'Vi. Another player that had a whale of a time was Caliste, going 20-something 06. I tried to bring up the thing on the broadcast, but I must have mispressed the button and I couldn't remember the exact stats myself. Here we are, 26 KDA, 31% of his team's damage. One of those games was on the Ezreal, died during that game, which is why his KDA is actually specified now rather than unspecified. But he came out to a storming start as Isma looking to start storming towards this bot lane. Targamas having to pop the heal already. He's going to be caught out. Isma on the board, first blood to GIANTX.
Yeah, nicely done by Jun as well. So ends up using the headbutt on towards Caliste, knowing Caliste has Arcane Shift, which can then interrupt the pulverize, but just using it as a taxi service to catch Targamas completely off guard.
I love that headbutt Q flash combo. Yeah. It's so hard to react to, and especially with Isma coming around the corner. Like, Targamas could have tried to flash away, but it probably wouldn't have been actually that substantial for him, as Canna and Laure trading. LEC has the Conqueror stacked up. Canna running Grasp in this matchup, and will be able to keep himself alive for now. Yike has done a full clear and is on his way towards the top side. LEC in a safe enough position with the wave crashing just outside of his tower range.
Yeah, this is going to slowly push out, so there is a chance for Yike to try and get in here. And as you say, no flash for LEC, but looks like the slow push isn't going to be enough. They're just going to try and go for the grab and take it easy.
Vladi pushing Jackie's back in the mid lane, but Jackie's very happily just going to back and then TP in here. Both the mid lanes are relatively even. A slight gold lead for Lot up towards that top side, and a slight CS lead for Caliste, meaning he was for a second there ahead for KC.
Yeah, you can see Yike though is going to delay his reset. He's going to look for double scuttle here. So, but because of the play on bot side, Isma is going to end up resetting at a similar time. So both junglers will be coming out. But I think the fact that, as you already see, the 200 gold open up for Isma means that if he does end up finding Yike in any of these plays, can help out quite a bit. I think that's how you want to play it. But Yike actually not even resetting. He's looking for Jun.
And he's going down towards his bottom side. Jun has no summoners, knocked up with the flag and drag. Noah here waiting in that bush, but not going to be able to save his cow. You have to feel as Targamas continues to chase in. Great route from him. Good knock up the one to Yike. Jun almost survives. Noah dashing in. Yike with the triumph. Won't be enough. Noah gets him. A 2-for-1 in favor of KC.
KC going to be very happy with that one. Thought that Yike had already reset. They knew he was going to be on top side because of the way that they were kind of see the pathing operate already, but catching them completely off there, and 2 kills going across to now to KC.
Gold on Caliste as well. Noah will be very happy that he was able to pick up a kill in response, get himself on the board here. Means that gold lead for Caliste only about the plate's worth that he has managed to pick up from the push out. Isma once again looking for a gank towards the mid lane. Ryze, if you can get his flash out early, becomes a sitting duck. Scryer's bloomed down. Vladi's going to try and walk away. There's the pillar, but Jackie's can't really follow up too much here. Just has a bit of damage in. Vladi's able to walk his way away.
Yeah, nice roam from Targamas towards the mid lane there, knowing that he was out a little bit quicker than his AD carry counterpart, so making his presence known and just forces GIANTX back, so you don't have to end up burning that flash.
I mean, the good thing, though, for GIANTX in this situation is Vladi just teleported back to lane, so he's going to lose basically that whole wave. The Drake is available, and this is something we've seen a lot at MSI, but also here at the LEC. Early Drake stacking. KC were getting souls at like 25, 26 minutes yesterday. Now it's GIANTX who have the push in mid, the push in bot, and they're looking to secure the first Drake of the game as Lot and Canna will trade up towards the top side. Grandmaster's Might coming out from Canna. That's the Jax ultimate. Drake secured. A Chemtech in the pockets of GIANTX.
They're going to try and make GIANTX hurt as they re-enter the lane here, but nice setup already for GIANTX in this early stages. I think the main focus for them is going to be trying to keep their bottom lane safe here and make sure that they're able to, their bot lane is still able to farm efficiently. Just that Isma can try and make some presence on the map known, especially. I think he needs to look for counter ganks against Yike, because once you go for that flag and drag in, you're fully committed, and that's when you can then throw them the Trundle pillar and actually go ham. But at the moment, there's just not really a huge amount on the map that they can really look for.
Yeah, honors even pretty much across the board here. You can see it's 200, 100 gold difference. Slight leads in the jungle for KC and in that AD carry role, whereas top and mid are going slightly in favor of GIANTX. We are going to get towards this sort of subsequent consecutive objective position in the game where you have the Drake, the Grubs, the Rift Herald, the Drake, the Artican, the Drake, you know, and that's where I'm starting to wonder how effective GIANTX can be around those team fights, because we already mentioned it in the draft. Team fighting with this draft is going to be tricky.
Yeah, I think a huge amount of the way you want to try and play those fights is actually fighting in jungle. If you're able to beat KC to the punch and getting into river, well, your Trundle pillar can get a lot of value on choke points. Same when you look towards Orianna ult. Jun can look for flanks. Like, those are going to be your big setup points, but that comes down to a really good understanding of how you want to prioritize the objectives. And it does become a little bit tough when you've got things like Vladi having an ultimate to move around the map, but little skirmish on top side. Yike here just to make sure Canna can get this wave effectively.
And I think Isma was just there to make sure that Lot could push the wave in effectively. You could see Lot was a bit apprehensive that perhaps he'd be ganking. Now Yike is coming in from the side. Skip and flash away. There's a cataclysm follow-up. Canna flashes forward with the counter-strike and down goes Lot. Followed up though, Yike is going to fall. Meanwhile in the bot side, Jun going for the engage. Looking for the trample on Caliste, but doesn't get the stacks up in time. Targamas tried to get the root onto the Alistar, didn't quite land it, but Caliste will hit the Mystic shot in the end. Jun and Noah coming out the worst for that trade.
Yeah, so Lot definitely didn't want to be the one that goes down, but you can see there just how well Isma can turn around some of these plays. Does get the answer back. That will lead to the Void Grubs, and now that's starting to become a thing we're seeing pretty regularly, is the early kill into the objective take.
And look at Vladi moving here as well. You can see how far back the bot lane of GIANTX is being pushed because Vladi moved into the fog of war, could realm warp across. The swap has come out from GIANTX, bringing that Gwen into the bottom side after she died up towards top. They do get a grub, 2 grubs in fact, out of that sequence. So they'll be happy enough. First couple of objectives on the board for them, but it's difficult for their bot lane to actually really keep up with Caliste and Targamas.
It is interesting to see, though, how we have kind of pivoted away from... When we look at the way that the swaps would come through, it would always be the AD carry going top and around this time, so then you can look to just take turret plays, use the fact you picked up a couple of grubs for yourself. But especially when Orianna's in the game, Orianna is a champion that does so well being accelerated into the later portion of the games, that we're seeing them more often than not actually moving the Orianna to a side lane where you can keep the Alistar or your support there to try and keep her safe, and AD carries are just happy to just trade waves back effectively, and it's all about getting that resource into the Orianna as soon as possible.
Yeah, trying to keep her as safe as possible as well in those side lanes. It's much easier to protect a player on a side lane than it is in mid, because there's so fewer avenues to actually approach that position, whereas mid lane you have to protect so many different sides with your vision. Isma here has to flash away from the Tangle Barbs. Targamas was looking for the root, and with Yike, he was on vision clearing out a ward. Isma knew, okay, I can't be here. Cataclysm follow-up with Caliste would have just been too much. KC, though, have managed to extend their lead to about 500 gold. Still nothing too substantial, but I wonder if in a minute's time we'll see them deciding to fight around that next drain.
This is where it does get a little hard for GIANTX, though, because we're kind of talking about trying to protect Orianna on the side lane. You kind of auto-lose that mid push because you've got Targamas there who can very effectively push the wave versus Jun, who just struggles. So it means you always have Targamas who can move first alongside Yike, then start to attack different points in the map, and it means that Isma has to play a lot safer, and you kind of saw it for a quick second there where Isma took the wrong route through River and suddenly he's got multiple members of KC on him. So this is where you need to make sure you're working really well with Isma and Jun to cover this Orianna, cover your sides, and just not get caught out as you're trying to do so.
Yeah, you can see how much vision actually GIANTX have invested down towards that bottom side of the map right now. So many wards. You've got the Scuttle Crab, you've got a ward here, you've got a ward behind, you've got a ward here, you've got Jun standing behind the pit just in case. And they're not actually investing too much in keeping the Orianna safe, but that's because they know KC are on the bottom side of the map right now. The Drake is the key target. If you can manage to keep the stacking up for GIANTX, they're looking at that early soul, but they might also just give this one up. Say, we don't need to fight for the Drake. We know KC like to stack them. They went for the soul in both games yesterday. We just got the first one. Delay it by 5 minutes. We'll scale. Orianna, Gwen, we're happy enough to do that.
They can also, as you can see, they're setting up a potential play towards Vladi in the top side. He has to back away, so he took a good chunk from Jackie's, but it also now gives you the option to just fall back and pick up that last grub if you really want to on the way out as well. Get 3 grubs for yourself, but...
I was wondering if it would be first tower. I don't think they're going to take the whole thing. Bulwark obviously making it tankier the more plates you take. Trundle is very good at taking towers. You can use that chomp really effectively. With the wave coming in, Jackies might just be able to pick this one up. Yeah, Targamas and Vladi are here.
Yeah, it doesn't quite stick around, so true damage burn is enough, but that's why it's like, when you get to the 3 grubs, it's really, really strong for trying to quickly take those towers, but unfortunately just not going to be quite enough to take down that top side, but still you get the grubs on the way out, but a dragon for KC, and now they're starting to set up into the 1-3-1. I still think GIANTX need a bit of time to scale, both with the Orianna and the Gwen, so they're definitely going to be playing on the defensive foot, and it's more on eyes on Yike to see what plays he can make.
See where he ends up being on the map. But now, you know, he's been involved in all 3 of his team's kills, kind of what you expect from a Jarvan. Has the Sundered Sky complete. First items actually coming out for lots of our players on the Rift. You've got the Rod of Ages stacking up for Vladi, Triforce already for Caliste, Essence Reaver and a Triforce on the side of GIANTX as well. So, with the game basically even, the question is, will the teams make too many proactive plays between objectives? And the answer is, most indubitably, as Jun looks for the top side. Vladi has no escape to this. Knocked up with the pillar. Isma comes across. Jackie's gifted the kill. GIANTX get their 4th on the board.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised Vladi didn't just try and flash the shockwave and see if he could get out of that, but not able to do so, and it means that he isn't falling. Nice job from Jun. He stuck around on that top side, was able to protect Jackie so he could get the reset, and it's as KC disappeared, that's when he's able to make the play. So nice pick off onto Vladi in his hard lane.
Also means they're going to get first tower, because there's no one up on that top side to defend. GIANTX will get the first turret, and we'll end up having our feats decided by who manages to pick up that last objective. GIANTX currently sitting at 2 with the Grobs and with the Drake, whereas KC only have that 1 dragon to their name. Yike and Targamas looking for Isma. Smite will come down. Yike will steal away some of the Razor Beaks at least, as Jun once again out on the map. Said he needed to be proactive in this game, just ruining the tempo of Canna here. He's got Whiplash from being knocked back with the Pulverize. Targamas coming across again. Blooming Burst will do a little bit of damage to Laure, but in the Hallowed Mist doesn't really connect.
Well, we're seeing that GIANTX are getting to make a play on top side, but there's no answer from KC on the bottom half.
It feels very reactionary from KC so far.
And I was going to say, it's like, I was expecting Yike and Targamas to be like, right, we get the push on mid, let's invade. And like, they have gotten some vision in there. Like, you can see one that's just sitting over by the Raptors, but it hasn't been deep vision to try and set up for a potential dive, to try and punish Laure, or push people off of towers to respond. So GIANTX are kind of just getting to run the map at the moment. TP down to the bottom side, though, to try and pick up this wave, but not really getting much out of it.
And importantly, like Lot's up towards topside, he's going to be able to push that out. There's no tier 1, so he can push it all the way back to the tier 2. Canna's going to have to reset to answer that. Will have his teleport available, so can then join a fight around, you know, the Dragon up in 2 minutes, or the Rift Herald in 30 seconds is the more likely objective that we'll see these two teams butt heads around.
Isma is moving down to this bottom side, but Yike delayed going back into his own jungle. I wasn't sure. So basically what's going to happen is Yike... come on, there we go. Yike is going to be moving back up towards this top side to try and clear out all its camps. So I think if you can push this wave here as the Gwen, you can finish that one off, and there's a potential to move down onto this bottom side then and look for a dive onto this bot tower. But we'll have to see if that's going to be set up for them here. It looks like they still need to try and clear out mid first, so their timing window might just be gone.
Also depends on if GIANTX want to play around the Herald, because they would give them the feat of strength if they manage to pick it up, right? So, but they can also sack it. KC have only taken one neutral so far. That seems to be what they're deciding to do. They saw, or they understood that Yike was pathing towards the top side. They're like, okay, we'll just overinvest on bot side, get our Orianna ahead. You talked about it. She works so well with that solo XP and extra gold.
And that's why I think they did give it up. It's when you look at the, like, Ezreal just hit Triforce, Thunder Sky on towards Jarvan, Triforce on towards your Jax as well. Like, you're hitting really nice breakpoints for KC on these one-item spikes, but you're just not really seeing the same. Like, Seraph's Embrace and a Rift Maker is not really going to win you a big team fight, right? So I think it's the right call here to just try and move yourself around the map, keep your tempo up, and get back out onto the map first.
They have about a 1.5, 1.6k lead after KC take their first tower of the game, and it's great signs for GIANTX. We kind of memed the Scrim King thing because we've seen it fall flat on its face so many times in the past, and it still might. But the early game so far from GIANTX has been really solid. KC did struggle a little bit yesterday in their early games and have across the course of previous splits, but I guess my assumption of the 2 games we saw of them was they cleaned it up just a little bit.
And traditionally it has been GIANTX kind of making mistakes in the mid game. Good pick.
Shockwave going down, and so does Targamas. Just absolutely pick 6 there by GIANTX, and now the Dragon is up as well. KC pushed back towards their tower, didn't have the vision that they would have wanted. You can see a sea of blue in the river. No red wards at all, apart from one far-side alteration that's just been placed across this wall.
Yeah, this is really, really well orchestrated by GIANTX, and that was what I was going to say is Caliste now.
Now Jun's just chasing Caliste, going to force him out. The Realm War coming out as well, but Vladi's not going to get there. Flash across from Isma. Caliste, though, hit enough Mystic shots to have the Arcane Shift back up. Yike now joining in. True Shot Barrage going to rain in with the Cataclysm coming across the top. Canna trying to join from the side, knock back Pot Blossom. Targamas will get the kill onto Isma. Yike's the one that secures it.
And this was actually where I was about to say GIANTX have traditionally been very good at getting early leads, but then struggle when it gets to the mid game. It's them going too far or getting caught out in the side lane or just these little mistakes. And what is so far been a stellar game for them, now we just start to see that old GIANTX creep in again, where they just try and bite off a little bit more than they can chew. And it's a good turnaround by KC there to get a kill back.
And it's important to note just how vital every single win you can get is in this sort of format. You get 4 series. 4 best of 3s to prove you're in the top 4 in your group. You have to be, if you're GIANTX, Nkoi, KC, Vitality, and Na'Vi. Now, after seeing Na'Vi yesterday, I think they'll be looking at that and saying, okay, we're definitely going to get 3rd or 4th. But if you can beat KC, can you push yourself up to 1st and 2nd, get a bye through the first round of playoffs? There's a lot of hypothesization, however you want to pronounce that, pontification here. GIANTX are still only 1,000 gold in the lead, but it is a very strong start for them. I am still worried about their team fighting. I'm still worried about whether or not, if in a pure 5v5, KC meet them, they'll be actually able to win. But they've done a really good job of finding picks and not forcing the 5v5.
Yeah, like even with that one kind of whoopsie, I think GIANTX should be very happy with the way they played this out, because you're looking at a team that we said, hey, you've got a 1-3-1 comp where you have an extra teleport on this Ryze. KC should be the ones that are kind of dictating the pace of the map and running around, but it has been GIANTX thus far, and now they might have caught Canna out as well on the side lane, which is good timing.
Oh, Isma coming in from the side, Jun looking for it as well. Canna backing away wisely, knowing that his jungle does not belong to him, and again, deep vision going in from GIANTX. They secured their second dragon of the game about 2 minutes ago. Ocean Soul would be superb for this team. A Gwen and a Trundle with an Ocean Soul will be happy as Larry, as they say, as we see KC trying to push in towards this top side to answer the pressure from bot. Jackie's no flash on him with the Realm Warp chasing forward. KC have found their man. Good shockwave. Jackie's trying to escape. Can't get away from the overload, but Isma's on the chase now, and Jun's coming in from the lane as well. Yike will be able to escape. Vladi does still have to flash here. Will flash across the wall. Jun chases him though. The angry cow, how do those horns taste? Yike trying to get away, no flash for him. Isma with the frozen domain should be able to chase this one down, as we see Canna in the picture-in-picture pushing in. Great pillar to stop the flag and drag. Isma will pick up his fall.
Nice turnaround by GIANTX. KC thought they saw their window where everyone in GIANTX invested on bot side so they could attack the flashless Orianna, but GIANTX just about able to get back in time and keep them in check. Now, you still see the tower going down in bot side for Canna, which is nice, because when you look at the actual state of the towers, you're going to have mid lane tower falling very, very soon. But now Adakan up and available, GIANTX back out onto the map.
It feels like an Adakan rush, I'm going to be honest. With the TP coming out from Jackie's immediately, Isma's making a beeline for it. KC don't have their jungler for 6 seconds. GIANTX pull it down towards the bottom lane as Targamas looks to set up. Jackie's is in prime position, has the shockwave, will keep Canna at bay for now. The Atakan down to 6,000. Targamas can't really get in here. Good poke coming out from GIANTX. There's a true shot for us. Vladi going in. Great knockback on the Pop Blossom. Atakan secured, and perhaps a little bit more. The culling from Noah. He flashes away from the counter-strike. Yike joins the party. Cataclysm on the 2. Noah trying to survive, but he's taken out, as is Jun and Isma. It's Atakan and a 3 for 2. The kills in favor of KC. They want more out of this. Jackie's tries to get the slow onto Yike there. Doesn't have the flash. Will land the command dissonance for the slow. Hit with the flag and drag. Caliste picks up the kill.
KC managing to pick off 4 members off the back of that, and the mid lane tower web down in the middle of it. But Jackie's ends up not really getting value here for the ultimate. Only ends up getting Targamas, which means that as they start to follow through here, KC feel more confident to go forward. Jun does get a fantastic knockback, but Canna's position here is great. Immediately gets in onto the back line, which makes it a little bit more tough for them to play the fight. Even flashing forward to get onto Noah, but Noah cleanses. But now Yike is back on, and it's just a 2-man knock-up into a beautiful Cataclysm, and Caliste getting so much damage on the back line.
GIANTX trying to pull off a heist there. Did get the Atakan. They'll be 32 petals ahead. I want to say it's about 1.5k worth of stats. It's a pretty substantial sum, but Karmine Corp are 1.5k ahead, or 1.3 at least. Caliste so big on this Ezreal as well. 303 on it right now. Yesterday had a stormer of a game on it. I think actually our wonderful production team made us a graphic about him. This year on the Ezreal has been having an absolute whale of a time. And the setup around the Drake once again starts to reset. Laure takes the aggro. Targamas looking to see if he can find that Pop Blossom. The engage onto Canna. Counter-strike. Pop Blossom hits all 5 of them! And they're buried in the river. Beautiful from KC. 5 for Oace.
A Cataclysm has never looked so flowery. Absolutely destroyed in that engage. Targamas, that was insane. What a play. Like, you're kind of here. Like, this I really like from KC, because you're constantly threatening the backline, and GIANTX try to take control of the choke, think they have a moment, but Targamas flash forward, hits onto 4 members, the immediate Cataclysm afterwards, the combo, just excellent from KC.
And now they're 5,000 gold ahead, and everything we said in the early game, yes, KC's early game was bad, but who gives a damn if you can team fight like that? Targamas with his I mean, he's had a few contributions to the game, but with his first really meaningful contribution, a 5-man pot blossom, and now Caliste 505 on this Ezreal, 404 for Canna. Enemy top laner not found at all. KC are in dominant control of the game.
And I think this is really where Targamas is starting to shine as a support in the LEC, is these kind of moments where he gets these big engages. We saw it yesterday in the Rel as well. He looked fantastic. Now this on the Neeko too. KC gonna be very, very happy with that one, and with a minute now until Baron, they can start to push in these waves, start to use their composition a little bit more, but crucially get that vision that makes it incredibly hard for GIANTX to try and buy back. You just saw that Pop Blossom. That can now happen at every bush you try and face check.
Yeah, gaining vision control, so important when you're looking for comps that have these big AoE setups. KC will clear out the vision on this top side. As you say, Baron up in about 40 seconds or so. Third item complete for Caliste on this Ezreal. He's got a 2,000 gold lead himself. Canna 2.5k up on this Jax. For GIANTX, scrims a thing of distant memories now. The stage feels different, it seems, as they are relegated to just trying to walk back through their jungle, no camps up, just gain a little bit of vision control.
Yeah, it's still, though, for GIANTX, there is kind of a light at the end of the tunnel. You're still seeing 2 items now on Orianna, the 2 items coming through for the Gwen. Like, you are far behind, don't get me wrong, but at least if you can try and find a big shockwave, you're a relatively squishy team for KC, so maybe you can find that combo of your own and make it work, but it is definitely difficult. KC is just so much easier to execute with this, but you can see what GIANTX are looking for. Just hide on bushes, see if you can find a pick, see if you can find someone as they try to get vision, and it might be Targamas.
He sends the Shape Splitter clone forward first, and won't be found at all. KC now into that 1-3-1, and this is where this composition really shines. So difficult to actually deal with the Ryze on a side lane. And with that Jax pushing through top, Isma and Laure are going to look for him. Canna has the flash, will dash away, dodges the pillar, and then immediately walks back in, applying that pressure once again to the lane.
Yeah, I like what Vladi's doing at the moment. He's just hovering at a vision on this bottom side, which is the reason you're seeing a lot of trepidation from GIANTX, try and figure out exactly where they want to put focus. But KC now starting to get more and more presence on the map as a result, and now that Vladi shows, they feel a little bit more comfortable, but it's just been very difficult to try and take our fight or kind of push back KC on this top side jungle because Vladi can round warp in at any time.
It's the quintessential problem playing against a team that has more TPs or has more globals than you. Every time you take a fight, you can just very rapidly be outnumbered, and that's what GIANTX now have to try and navigate over the next few minutes. They've managed to survive through the first 26 minutes of the game, which is something that Na'Vi only just about managed to do yesterday, so credit to them. They do have 2 Drakes to 2 Drakes as well, so if they can manage to pick up a third, they get themselves onto that soul point. There are windows, there's ways back. The problem is, the windows so far are being rapidly slammed on their fingers by KC.
Yeah, what I'd really like to see them do is pop a sorry, 1 second. Ward into this bush here.
Going to put it smaller again for you?
Thank you. Yeah, that's great. Just into that push where the 1 is, because that means that then any time you get that push from Vladi and he starts to teeter into the fog of war, you can kind of tell basically, has he gone over towards the main crew, or do we have a little bit of time? Because if he has to walk the whole way up and around by the back of Dragon Pit, it means that then you kind of have the time as Jackies to clear out the wave and then start to teeter over towards the rest of your team. But at the moment, I think the focus is going to be Dragon. 35 seconds until that one's up. And it looks like essentially KC just trying to push in, but Baron is up as well. So
TP coming out immediately from Vladi. I think it's a Baron call. Argument they cleared out enough vision. Vladi just starting up the Baron himself. No vision there right now for GIANTX, but they have an inkling that something's going on as they immediately start to run across. Isma will see that it's already down low, but there's the follow-up and they collapse on Isma. Trundle put into the filth. KC secure the Baron, and with no jungler on the enemy team, the only question is it Drake now or do we push first?
I'm surprised that Isma felt he needed to face check. You've 2 blue scrying orbs on both No and Jackies. Could have gone into the pit to see what exactly was going on, but now Isma's dead. You lose both, as you say, Baron and Dragon, a ton of control on the map. I think this is kind of just put the nail in the coffin for GIANTX in this game.
I'd love to see the replay of the like 30 seconds before it happened, because I think Noah and Jackies were bot side from that. I think maybe
Jackie's
the red has spawned.
But Noah, I'm not entirely sure.
Yeah, it's very difficult to tell. Obviously, Isma felt the need that he had to face check, and KC very happily took the kill and took the Baron alongside it. 29 minutes in, now almost a 10,000 gold lead for KC. They pick up their third dragon of the game. Collapse happening towards the top side with the Realm Warp coming in. Lot, well, he's got no flash and he's only level 15. 2 level 17s collapsing on him. His lot is pretty short in this life. Taken out by Canna, goes unstoppable, joining Caliste on the 5-0-5.
And now, just a slow push in on this top side. You're already completely taking control of this top side for KC, so it's just going to be very difficult. But Wave isn't really here, but still, they're just going to hold on to control. And like, it is kind of the slow bleeding for GIANTX right now. There's just so little that they can do.
I'm going to say it's pretty quick bleeding. Like, this is exsanguination.
Well, I mean,
if
you are the
talking
doctor,
about.
so I'm going to trust you on this.
You need some sort of bandage, put a tourniquet on, and just hope. At this point, I don't know where GIANTX are going to cut off the circulation, because their camps keep spawning, they keep trying to get waves, and every time they do, they seem to be in asystole.
It's also the safety defense mechanisms that have come through, because you got Zhonya's here, you got a GA here, so even when you're looking for that potentially big Orianna ult to come through, I mean, you could, despite Lot being 2 levels down, you can see how much damage he was actually able to do in some of these fights, but it just means there's so much safety. Jackie's, that's a nice little bit of return damage there.
Yeah, just a little bit of poke coming out from Caliste with the True Shot Barrage. Has the Serildas as well, which is kind of a pseudo-safety item with the slows coming out from it. So Caliste very happy where he is right now. We did talk to Vladi when we were getting makeup before this, and he was saying, hey, last time we scrimmed against GIANTX, they beat us 4-2. They were expecting a close series today. How much of that was tongue-in-cheek, who knows? But after a solid early game from GIANTX, KC have just been the better team. They did it yesterday, they're doing it again today. Targamas, he's a minion. Oh, pulled back by the shockwave. Jun goes in for the 3-man engage, exhaust down onto Vladi as well. Targamas able to escape to the backside of it. Jun's going to be the first to fall in the fight. Lot looking for the needle work, but Canna keeps them all at bay. For a moment, it looked like GIANTX have found an avenue back into the game, but Targamas survives. And Vladi and Caliste healthy enough to keep pushing in. Canna looking for the counter-strike. Cleanse away from Noah, and the flash. True Shot Barrage is coming out as well. Realm Warp in by KC as the reinforcements arrive to the party. KC will force GIANTX away, will take the tier 3 in the mid lane and the inhibitor tower up towards top. Inhib will fall in mid. KC will get everything they wanted out of the push.
It was a beautiful shockwave from Jackie's, but unfortunately it's just that bit too late. As Isma, I don't think you want this, lad.
Yeah, I can agree with you there. I don't think he wanted that. He thought he did, but sometimes you gotta...
I thought Lot was about to do the exact same.
Look, measure twice, cut once. Isma immediately was cutting.
But like, this was a really good ultimate from Jackie's. Like, the fact that you managed to catch Targamas right as he's going for it, you get the big pullback is perfect. Jun with fantastic follow-up, but again, it is that little bit late. Lot isn't in a position to try and start off the needlework, and even that final shot was Zhonya's by Vladi as well. So so much of that damage ends up missing. I think if you had Lot there, maybe you can get the needlework slow across everyone, and that could actually be the difference maker, but another shockwave.
Onto Targamas, he's going to use the rocket belt to try and get away, but he can't escape the clockwork wind-up coming out from Jackie's. That was a little greedy from Targamas, looking for positioning, looking to try and find a pick as Jackie's and Jun pushed out.
Yeah, not entirely sure what the game plan was, because there wasn't really people around him either. But
Yike and Caliste were close-ish. A Pop Blossom into True Shot Barrage, Arcane Shift. I can see the montage, man. The blue wall being built brick by brick on the back of Targamas.
Because I think at this stage it's just, oh, here we go.
Canna looking for the counter-strike, will land it. Cullen coming out from Noah onto Vladi, takes him down to half HP. TP in from GIANTX, and KC a little bit split here. Vladi having to flash away, Yike going in with the Cataclysm to lock up GIANTX and keep them away from both his top laner and his mid laner. Well played there by Yike to manage to extricate his team from GIANTX's clutches.
That's a flash on Yike and Vladi now gone though with Dragon Soul in 40 seconds. So I'm curious how confident GIANTX are feeling to actually try and take this next fight. The only thing, like, there's a lot of focus from KC on towards this bottom side, but I really don't think that's where they should be putting their focus. I think at this stage, you are strong as a 5-man unit to just walk up and take that top lane inhibitor.
Sure.
And then at that stage, then transition into, hey, we'll have Canna mid, we will have that pressure on the bottom side, but now there's a TP coming in behind.
Caliste still has his flash. And Jackie's and Isma have theirs on the side of GIANTX. 10 seconds on the Drake would be sold for KC. Ooh, Canna spotted out on the control ward. Noah realizing that flank was a little bit foggy and illuminates the darkness. GIANTX pushing through mid here. Drake is up, Canna forced up towards the top side. Has no flash, Isma's on the chase. This is soul for a kill, it seems. It might even be soul for the inhibitor as the Vladi is pushing in. Now, Baron is up, but do you actually win this as GIANTX? Recall's going to have to come out. They haven't got teleports. Can they start the Baron on spawn? Well, they say yes. I think no. As Vladi continues to push in. Doesn't have a teleport of his own. KC looking to step in towards this top side river. Baron down to 6,000. Now 5. Caliste with the True Shot Barrage. Yike can EQ in. There's the Cataclysm follow-up. Caliste having to Arcane Shift away. Pop Blossom onto 2. Yike looking for the smite as Caliste escapes. Lots clutches. Isma will secure the Baron. Yike forced up towards the top side and will manage to escape. Caliste with a sliver of HP gets away.
But GIANTX get what they really wanted, right? Yes, you end up losing that tower on the bottom side, but the inhibitor still sticks around. You end up getting that Baron, and that might just buy you enough time to get a third item coming through for loss. Also, Jackie's been able to finish off now a bit more too. Like, it's a little sloppy, but they're kind of holding on here.
I mean, yeah, they did a great job of holding on. I thought Vladi would be able to push in quicker, and I thought if people recall to try and deal with him, GIANTX would lose the fight, but they win out the fight. Great job from Lot marking Caliste, keeping him away from getting any of that damage down. And now with Baron, GIANTX can push in. They are still 9,000 gold in the hole, and there's an Ocean Soul, remember, on KC. So, if they don't utilize the next 2 minutes very effectively, KC has still won out on the play.
I do think, though, the value of the Ocean Soul is not wonderful for KC just based on GIANTX's fight.
Sure.
Because it is very burst heavy when you look towards like Jackie's and Lot then having that great follow-up that we've already kind of been seeing. And it is kind of a pick one guy and delete him. So I think from that respect, you may not get full value out of this. So for GIANTX, I think you're pretty happy with that trade in general.
And right now, they're trying to continue the trade in their favor. Their third tower of the game has been felled. Canna and Yike up towards the top side looking for that flank. Meanwhile, the Gwen is still down towards bottom. KC defending as 5 against only 4 here. Lot will be able to take a tier 2, 700 gold in infusion. We found the red blood cells and we're pumping them into them. As GIANTX's bleeding has been stopped. A minute still remains on the Baron as well. The next wave going to crash towards that mid lane tower in about 5 seconds time. KC, how do you defend? The Gwen's coming across. Targamas looking for the flank. They just give it up. Another tier 2. 6,000 gold out of the Baron power play, and only, I say only, still a 6,000 gold lead for KC.
And that's Rabadon death cap. Just completed for Jackie's as well. Again, like these are kind of the breakpoints that they really wanted. So even though you have a lot of gold, it's levels now across the board even. So you're not really looking for a big advantage there. You're starting to see the creeping of these big ticket items for guys like Lot and for Jackie's. You're almost full build here for Noah. He's just going to finish off with a Guardian Angel as well. Yes, it's a lot of gold, but it's not going to do a huge amount here.
TP coming in as KC look to catch out Noah. Does still have the cleanse and the flash. Canna on that front line. Headbutt was used by Jun, but will be back up. Where's Lot? He can make a long flank around here. Targamas using the clone effectively there to spot out the fact that Gwen was having a mosey, having a gander. Vladi spotted by the control ward. GIANTX maybe playing for this red, but choke points aren't their friend, especially against the Pop Blossom. Isma stepping in and just deleted. Overstays his welcome. Realm Warp coming in as well. Cataclysm onto the backline. Canna jumping forward. The EQ onto Noah, but now Yike's a little bit isolated. Vladi still following up. Pop Blossom coming out onto Jun. Lot dies towards the top side. Jun follows suit. Only Jackie's remains. And you said it earlier, Rob. GIANTX, they had good games and then they just fumble it.
Just getting caught there. Isma puts the panic into GIANTX and it all starts to fall apart. Yike even using that Cataclysm to deny the knockup from Jun. It worked out so well. And KC, it started off rough, but game 1 is going to go their way.
And Jackie's has Shockwave. There is one wave on its way here, but I don't think he's going to be allowed to even step up to his inhibitor towers. Good Shockwave in the end, but it doesn't matter. KC, they had a couple of mishaps and mistakes in the mid game, but in the end, they still remain victorious. 1-0 up in the series.
But to give GIANTX their due, it really felt like they were going to be able to close this one out. It's again just these small missteps of going for that little bit too much in mid lane. Isma then taking that step too far forward. These little moments that could have changed into everything.
We'll be right back in just a couple of minutes with game 2 of this series, and we'll see if GIANTX can clean it up or if KC will go 2-0 once again.